All right. So up next we had Zeb Coulter, Jack Swagger, Lana, blah blah blah. Talk, John.
I want to make just one quick point because honestly, dude, it doesn't even have to do with the promo and everything because I felt like you and I addressed that in the first segment. What I wanted to say was that I feel like this feud is going to be a two-match program. We're going to see one at Battleground and then a rematch, probably some kind of stip match, if I'm guessing, at SummerSlam. But then after SummerSlam, because SummerSlam's in August, then we get to September. I believe the next
Night of
pay-per-view should be
Champions.
Night of Champions. Rusev needs to face Sheamus, in my mind, at Night of Champions after this feud. I mean, it's been all surrounded,
Would you
you know, with
agree that Rusev needs to go over in every match that he has with Swagger?
yes, I would.
Yeah.
I would, yeah. I don't think Swagger can afford a win here. Maybe Rusev's first win is a little controversial. Maybe it's like a
Yeah.
countout or something.
Or like grabbing the ropes or like grabbing the tights or something like that. Yeah.
Right, right. And then
Or
SummerSlam,
even a count out, like you said. That would be a good way to do it too.
yeah, countout. Kick him in the face, and then just do countouts, and then Zeb can say,
You really just want to see Swagger's face get rearranged.
I just love Rusev's super kick. I laughed when Damian Sandow got super kicked, and I love him. It's just he's starting to fail so hard that I'm starting to take enjoyment in seeing him just go further and further down at this point. I don't know. It's kind of a weird place to be, but more importantly, after this program with Swagger, yeah, I think Sheamus is the next logical step because it's just been all America versus Russia, this, that, and the other, and then Sheamus could come out after Rusev is bragging about his recent triumph and say, well, if you really want to take on someone who represents America, why don't you take on the United States champion, or something like that, I don't know. Throw in a crappy line here, we get our Night of Champions matchup, and Rusev beating Sheamus, not only that, but beating him decisively, I think
Yes.
would do wonders for Rusev.
Yep.
That's really what I wanted to talk about here, because to me, after you get done a feud like this, and Ashton, you even said on Raw that it seems like this feud is the hottest angle in WWE at the moment, or one of the hottest.
Which is just plain sad.
Yeah, it's plain sad and mind-boggling when, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins is a thing. Um, but at the same time, they need to capitalize on this if you're Rusev. When he overcomes Swagger, and I'm expecting the jeers to be quite thunderous, he needs to finally enter the championship picture, and I think it's the perfect time, the perfect level. I could see him and Sheamus having a 2, maybe even 3-match program over it, and just really continue the restoring the splendor of the U.S. title by having it on the most un-American character on the roster. So that's my train of thought for the moment.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I guess I find irony in the fact that even though the WWE is trying to be culturally relevant by having good guy American versus bad guy Russian, I find the cultural relevance to be a far more deep social commentary on how stupid the American people can be and how gullible the American people are when it comes to politicians. Because we have this guy who no more than a month and a half ago was getting booed out of buildings because of his policy on immigration. But now all of a sudden he starts to talk down on somebody that everybody had already hated in the first place, and the American people are in his favor again.
It shows you the nature of rhetoric. When you say things that people want to hear, that's how you curry favor. When you say things that they don't like, that's when they truly feel that revolutionary spirit. It's really a bunch of crap. I've said this before. I feel like this feud would have been so much better if it was more honest on each side, looking at the history of each country, because we're the furthest thing from saintly. No country is perfect and without its skeletons, and I feel like if you honestly acknowledge that to a certain degree, this feud would be so much more than your typical cutout of a pro-USA feud, like Hogan and, I don't know, Iraqi
Slaughter.
sympathizer Slaughter, yeah, or something like that. I feel like there's a chance to
Hogan Chic.
Hogan Chic. I feel like there's a chance to really do quite genuinely what you were saying, Ashton, a political / cultural commentary. I felt like they had the same opportunity when Hassan was in the business, but they went and they hammied that up too, and a poor guy lost his job over it. So I don't know.
Lost his job for being good at it.
Exactly. So to me, I'm already looking ahead for Rusev, and I'm already looking for the inevitable matchup with Sheamus. In fact, I'm slowly becoming convinced that is the only reason Sheamus is United States champion at this point, is to inevitably feud with Rusev, because they know how that would sell. Two guys coming together like that. So let's hope it happens by Night of Champions. I've already got a match that makes me look forward to September rolling around.
There you go. Up next, you were talking about something that made you look forward to something in September. How about if we talk about something that made nobody look forward to anything ever? Alberto Del Rio versus Kofi Kingston.
What is there to say about this match? Alberto Del Rio is that guy that even when he gets demoted, you know he is still so ridiculously strongly booked that he's going to win. Even when Kingston has his hope spots, you know it's not going to matter. Really it is. LOL, Del Rio wins. I mean, they had a nice back and forth.
LO Del Rio wins. Ha!
There you go. I mean, they had a nice back and forth. I felt like, honestly, it would have been nice to give Kingston the win, seeing as how he's gotten wins over Cesaro recently. He might as well go all the freaking way with it and give him a win over Del Rio. But in the end, Kingston gets tied up in the trio woe, and Del Rio does the double stomp off the top rope. He gets the victory that way. Great. Let's all paint the illusion that Del Rio has even a chance of winning on Sunday. Yeah, that's real nice.
I know, right?
I mean, you could be building up a Bo Dallas, or hey, here's an idea. Maybe feature Cesaro and actually have him win a match. Nobody cares about Del Rio anymore. You pushed him to the top.
John, I want to stop you right there. You're overestimating the amount of people that care about Del Rio when you say nobody. It's less than nobody.
But I mean, you kept him at the top for so long, and then when you finally decided to, rotate him down to a lower.
Try to make him interesting again.
Like nobody cares because he's still the face turn was awful. The heel is just blah without Ricardo Rodriguez, and aggression can only take you so far. Sorry, Vinny, but it's the truth. You kind of need a personality to go with it. I'd say the last time Del Rio was interesting, and I only say it because I watched it again just today, was when he executed the double turn with Ziggler at Payback 2013.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that was the last time Del Rio was legitimately interesting. So, yeah, he's not winning.
And he wasn't even interesting for that long. He was just interesting long enough for people to hate him for turning on Ziggler and taking him out.
Exactly. So, Del Rio's not winning. Anybody who thinks he's winning, I'm not mean enough to laugh at you, but the thought is certainly there. It's not going to happen. So
it's crazy because a lot of the time when somebody that nobody cares about gets a reaction, it's because they're going against somebody that people care about so much that they have the inverse reaction for them. And that's exactly what applies to Del Rio in the scenario that you're talking about, because he wasn't interesting in that time, but Ziggler was so freaking hot that it made the crowd have the inverse reaction towards Del Rio. They could have had anyone there. They could have put freaking Zack Ryder in Del Rio's spot, and he would have gotten just as much heat as Del Rio. But because it was Del Rio, he got the heat, and now everyone, including you, is tricked into thinking that people cared about him in that storyline.
Right. And, that's just it. I feel like the well is run dry with Del Rio. I don't even see why he's still winning matches at this point, because it never really translates into anything. But regardless, it is what it is. I could see him being one of the earliest guys eliminated in the Battle Royal. The best he'll do is the Final Five.
He's going to make it in the top 4.
Yeah, I was going to say Final 5, Final 4, but we know he's not winning. Honestly,
I would put money on him making it into the Final 4.
I could understand why, because it is Del Rio, but ultimately, I don't want to go into
Final 4 is going to be Del Rio, Sheamus, Cesaro, and are Swagger and Rusev in it?
No.
Okay, then the Final 4 is going to be Del Rio, Sheamus, Ziggler, and who did I say? Cesaro. That's your Final 4, right?
Honestly, I'm shocked that you don't have Bo Dallas in your Final 4.
I would swap out Bo for Ziggler. Those guys are interchangeable to me.
Okay. Makes sense. So yeah, really nothing more to say than that. This was your typical Kingston match. This is your typical Del Rio match. These guys have faced each other before anyway, so if you've seen one match between these two, you've really seen this one. Don't worry about it.
I feel like we're starting to say that more and more often. Every show, we have at least one segment where we say, if you see one match between these guys, you've seen them all. And that's not a good thing.
No, it's not.